You asked for a tutorial on how to make yogurt, and here it is. We're going to begin with milk. We need 32 ounces, which is the same as 1 quart of milk. Personally, I find better results when I use 2% milk fat or higher, but it's totally up to you. To that, I'm going to add a tablespoon and a half of sugar. Now, if you want a little bit less, you can put less. You can also put a little bit more. You don't have to put any in at all. This is just the way my family prefers it. So a little bit of sugar, teaspoon of vanilla, and then I add 1/3 cup of dry milk powder. So you can see this is not instant, this is dry milk powder. I add 1/3 cup, and then we just mix it in. Now, I have been making yogurt for years, like over a decade. Let's not count. Anyway, a long time. I've been making yogurt a very long time. And I've tweaked the recipe over the years to find what works best for my family and the yogurt that we like and that we enjoy. And this is what I've landed on. This is my standard recipe that I have made for probably the last 6 years. Feel free to adopt it and make it however you like it, but this is what my family prefers. So you get that powdered milk all mixed in, and then we're gonna take it to the stove and heat it up. We're heating this up over medium heat, and I'm just mixing to get the last of that dry milk fully incorporated into the rest of the milk. Once that's all in, we're just going to keep an eye on it. We want it to heat to 180 degrees. Now, I have a thermometer. Let me show you. Now, if you do not have a thermometer like this, it is not a problem. We're just going to watch the milk until it's almost to boiling. That will be your cue. This is an instant read thermometer. You can see here it just has on the dial the numbers there. We want to get to 180. Now I got this, oh goodness, I've had this for years. It's really easy to use and very simple and gives you a quick readout. So obviously our milk is not up to temp yet. We're only at about 90 degrees. And remember, when you're using this thermometer, you want to get the tip of the thermometer all the way submerged but not touching the bottom of the pan, because that will mess your reading up. Okay, while that continues to heat, I'm going to show you what else I prepare. The other items that we need are a yogurt starter. This is just 2 tablespoons of yogurt that I purchased from the store. I prefer Greek yogurt for my starters, but any yogurt that has live and active cultures on it will work. Remember that the label has to say live and active cultures, because unfortunately there are some yogurt items out there that don't have live active cultures in them, and so they won't work as a starter. So this is Greek yogurt. I'm letting it come to room temperature. There are 2 tablespoons in here. And then this is my yogurt maker, and I just have all the jars in here ready to go. And I've got it turned on so that they can heat up. Now, this is important because we are playing with bacteria today. We want to make sure that we get good bacteria in our yogurt and it doesn't cross-contaminate with anything else. So make sure that your equipment is all very clean. Make sure that your jars are very clean, and keep them that way throughout the process. Make sure that the yogurt that we're using, those bacteria cultures are the ones that we're actually cultivating in our yogurt. If you don't have a yogurt maker, don't worry. I didn't have one for years, and you can still make yogurt. It's very simple. You get a quart mason jar and you just make it all at once together in that quart jar. In fact, I will go get a jar to show you. Hang on. Okay, we're back over here at the stove. You can see that it's starting to get that foam, like maybe it's time for it to boil or it's getting very close. So I'm gonna put my thermometer in. I believe we're pretty close. It's at 160, but it's still climbing, so let's see. Now, like I said, if you do not have a thermometer at home, just pay attention to how this looks. You can see, right, that it's to the point where it looks like it might be ready to boil, but it's not boiling yet, and that's the temperature that you want it at, okay? We're at 180. What we do is we remove it from the heat. I already turned the heat off. To help it cool it faster, I like to totally remove it from the hot stove and just set it off to the side so that it can cool. Now we want it to get to about 115 degrees. Now, normally when I make yogurt in the morning, I will start the milk and get it all heated up to the 180, then set it aside, go eat breakfast with the family, and by the time I finish breakfast and come back, it's at the 115. So that's about how long it takes for it to cool down. You can speed the process up if you need to by putting the whole pan into a water bath. So you would just submerge the pan, you know, about up to here in ice water. It does cool it very quickly. So you'll want to stir while it's in that water bath and keep an eye on the temperature so that it doesn't get too cool. Another option is to put it in the fridge for a few seconds just to quickly cool it. But again, you need to keep an eye on it because you don't want it to get too cool. So we're aiming for that 115 degrees Fahrenheit mark. I promised I would show you how to do this if you don't have a fancy yogurt maker. Here's what you do. You get a quart jar. This is a regular mason jar, just quart size. And then a heating pad. This is a heating pad that has electric dial on it that you can just put it on low and it will continue to keep the heating pad at that temperature. So you'll put this on your counter, plug it in, turn it on that low heat. You'll fill the mason jar with your yogurt, put a lid on it. Then you get a nice kitchen towel. Then you get a kitchen towel and you're gonna wrap your yogurt up and keep it nice and warm, okay? So it's on the heating pad, you've got it wrapped with the towel. Then you're going to put a stock pot or soup pot over the top like this to keep all the heat in, and you just leave it overnight. 8 hours is about the time it takes when you do it this way. To make your yogurt, it's totally fine. When I use the yogurt machine, it usually takes between 4 and 6 hours. I just check it. So anyway, this is the way that I made yogurt for years. There's nothing wrong with this way. It's very inexpensive and it uses items that you probably already have on hand, so you don't have to go out and buy the fancy yogurt maker. When you make yogurt at home and you open the jar, it's first of all beautiful, but secondly, when you cut into it, let me show you. This is some yogurt that I made, previous batch. When you open it, you can see it's very solid and smells like vanilla. Okay, so this is yogurt that I made a couple of days ago. This is what it looks like up close. So you can see there's a little bit of bubbles on the top, but that's totally fine. It was just a little frothy when I poured it in the jar. It's very solid, you know, it doesn't wiggle at all. It's a nice, good yogurt. Now when you mix it up, or take a spoonful out of it, this is what it looks like. Nice and creamy, very thick yogurt. It's definitely a Greek yogurt consistency. Okay, we are at 112. That is close enough. The bacteria will be just fine. Now the next part is mixing it into the starter. This is very easy. You're just gonna mix with one hand while you pour with the other. I like to do little tiny bits at a time. Mix it quickly. Because the yogurt starter was already at room temperature, we're just gonna heat it all the way up to this 112 in this case. Once you feel like you have enough of it mixed in that the yogurt is the same temperature as the rest of the milk, go ahead and mix it in. Okay, just to make it easy to pour into there, I always pour it back into my Pyrex. There you go. I put the lids on gently. I'm not even really making sure they're tight, just gently put the lids on top. Put this on and let it sit. Now, like I said, it takes anywhere between 4 to 6 hours in my yogurt maker. How I know it's done is I pick it up and I wiggle. I jiggle it a little bit. And if the yogurt wiggles at all, I know it needs just a little bit more time. So I'll put it back in for, you know, another 30 minutes or hour, check it again. When you pick it up and it doesn't move, then you can put it back in the fridge, and when it cools all the way down, you're ready to go. couple of things to note. First off, this recipe that I gave you today works on cow's milk. It does have casein in it. So if you are casein free, this will not be a good choice for you. You know your own body, and if that is an issue for you, please do not make it. I want to make sure that you're safe first and foremost. However, if you are just lactose free, this is a possibility because the bacteria will break down the lactose in the milk for you, so it shouldn't be an issue if you are just lactose free. Does it matter if your starter has flavor? No, it does not. If there is any flavor in your starter, it is usually barely noticeable by the time that you make a whole batch of yogurt, so really don't worry about that too much. I prefer to just use plain Greek yogurt as a starter, or even vanilla Greek yogurt, but you really can use any kind, and it doesn't have to be a certain brand. An alternative to using store-bought yogurt as your starter would be to use this, which is a yogurt starter that is dry. So you can use this, it's in a powder form, you just sprinkle it on top, and it also will be yogurt starter for you. And this makes very high quality, it's good yogurt made from this starter. The only reason that I don't use this on a regular basis is just, it's easier for me to just pick up a yogurt when I'm at the store and use it as my starter. You can order these from many places online, and even some Whole Foods type of stores sell them in store. So there you go. That's how you make yogurt at home. It's quick and easy and really delicious. So if you have any other questions, put them down below and I'll be sure to answer them. I hope this was helpful. Thanks so much. Oh, so creamy.